The Philadelphia 76ers are a really good basketball team, and I don't think enough people are talking about it. They improved to 7-4 on Tuesday night after defeating the Boston Celtics 102 to 100. Another win against the Boston Celtics team that, yeah, they have been struggling. They're 5-7 on the season. They don't have Jason Tatum, but then again, the Sixers counter without Joel Embiid. So it's kind of like, all right, you don't have your best player. We probably don't have ours, and yet the Sixers still end up coming out on top. And the reason why I say that this is a really good basketball team is let's just take a look at it. Joel Embiid has played in 6 games this season. He has scored more points than minutes played in half of those games. He has shown that, once again, he is him, he is the dude, in half of the games that he's played. Now, again, it's the same Joel Embiid problem where his knee flared up. It's the reason that kept him out of tonight's game because I'm recording this on a Tuesday. So is Joel Embiid ever going to be a 35, 40-minute-a-game type player? I kind of doubt it at this point. But when he's on, he's on. And my concern with Joel Embiid is just the fact that, like, is he ever going to be able to get into game shape with the constant minutes restriction, the injuries, all of that? You know, it's like they're dealing with Mr. Glass at this point in his career. They're so terrified of playing him so much and getting him injured because the problem has always been with the Sixers. Joel Embiid is their best player, and when they get to the postseason, it just something goes wrong, whether it be a lingering injury from the regular season or he just gets injured in the playoffs. You're going to need him in the playoffs, but it is November, so I'm not panicking about Joel Embiid's injury situation yet. Call me foolish on that one, that's fine. But the difference between this season's Sixers team and last season's Sixers team isn't just the fact that they're only dealing really with an injury to Joel Embiid at this point. It's the fact that they really, I feel like, have a full team. A full team. They've lost 4 games, 2 of which Joel Embiid hasn't played in. So half the games that Joel Embiid has played in, he's, once again, I'll remind you, scored more points than minutes played. Then half the games that the Sixers have lost, he just hasn't appeared in, which previously, if Joel Embiid doesn't appear in a game, you just go, all right, that's an automatic loss. You know, the Cleveland game is a good example of that. You knew that they were going to be, it was a back-to-back. They have to travel from Chicago to Cleveland, and they're going to be without Joel Embiid. Okay, yeah, chalk that up to a loss. And I believe Darius Garland returned for the Cavs that night, so that was like a scheduled loss, to quote Doc Rivers. But we have now seen games where Tyrese Maxey's obviously taken over. Like he is shown to be the tried and true scorer on this team. His development is incredible. But we've also seen games where Adem Bona has kind of saved them. Tonight's game, you know, Justin Edwards, an undrafted free agent, ends up putting up 22 points and I think 20 minutes played off the bench, becoming a key member, lighting the team on fire, and leading them to a victory. We've seen VJ Edgecombe drop 35 in a debut. It's not just a one-man team at this point, which it has been previously, where if Joel Embiid was out or if Joel Embiid simply was off, they're not winning. They weren't good enough to win. Now you're seeing a situation where not only is Joel Embiid out, Paul George is out, and they're still packing the wins and stacking the wins on one on top of the other. This is a really, really good basketball team. And I know a lot of people, and I'll talk about this in another video, I know a lot of people are down on the Paul George situation. They're not getting worse when he returns. Like, they're getting key contributions from Kelly Oubre Jr., from VJ Edgecombe. Obviously, talk about Tyrese Maxey, but it's also their bench guys, the Quentin Grimes of the world. Again, it's the Justin Edwards tonight, the Adem Bonas. Like, they're getting key contributions every night from somebody. And it just goes back to the reason why I truly believe that last season was going to be one step back to take 5 steps forward. Because last season was an absolute shit show, but you were able to get a view of a Justin Edwards where you go, okay, he can be a rotational guy. You're not usually getting a view of Justin Edwards in a season where you're looking to contend. And what I mean by that is you're not looking to get a view of a player that is an undrafted rookie free agent. But because of all the injuries and because they were such a shit show, sure, kid, get out there. And Nick Nurse is so good at that. He's so good at identifying talent, building them up, and identifying when a guy is going to be able to contribute for his team. He did it in Toronto. I've talked about that a few times. You know, Kyle Lowry wasn't Kyle Lowry until he got to Toronto, until he really blossomed in Toronto. Fred VanVleet was an undrafted free agent who ends up getting a max deal from the Rockets. Pascal Siakam is a late first-round pick who ends up blossoming into a key player. Nick Nurse did that time and time again, and I think he's in the process of doing it with this Sixers team, where when you finally do get Paul George back, because everybody just thinks that Paul George is a scrub at this point. He's not. When you finally get him back and get him healthy and include him in this rotation, whether it be a starter or coming off the bench, because Kelly Oubre Jr. is playing really, really good basketball. I don't necessarily know how you take him out of the starting lineup, but when you include him, the team's only going to get better. I think that this team is going to be a top 3 team in the East. And last season I had a tweet, horrible tweet, probably late November, I want to say, that said the Sixers will be a top 4 team in the East. Book it. Hey, I was a year off. But this current Sixers team, the way that they're winning games is different than in years past because of the contributions they're getting from other players that you necessarily wouldn't rely on. But they're getting it. It's no longer Joel Embiid and kind of everybody else. It's not Donna Summers and the Supremes. It is everybody. It is the Beatles. It is Paul, Ringo, George. There's a John guy in there somewhere. Because while, yeah, you can pretty much pencil in Tyrese Maxey for a cool 25 points a night at this point. He's been great. You need those other guys. You need a cohesive unit. You need the bench pieces. You need somebody to step up, and they're certainly getting it. This is a really, really fun team to watch. I just don't think anyone notices it because a lot of fans have Sixers apathy at this point. They've seen this team struggle. They've seen this team fail to get out of the second round time and time again. They've gotten their hopes up only to get kicked in the nuts. I understand it, but I think you're also missing out on a really, really fun season ahead of us, barring injuries. And that's the tough part is at this point, I feel like Sixers fans are waiting for that shoe to drop. They're waiting for the injury bug to hit, and it hit in a big way last year. You forget that not only was it Joel Embiid, it was Paul George, it was Tyrese Maxey at a point. It was all your key contributors, and that forced you to have to play some of these younger guys. But it also gave you an eye on a Justin Edwards to identify he could be a future rotational piece, and he is. The suckiness of last year got you VJ Edgecombe, where even when he's not pouring in buckets, he's giving you high energy on the defensive side of the ball. Tonight's game, they won 102-100. That's like an old school basketball game. But they've also won games 130-120. This team is doing it in so many different ways that they're going to continue to stack these wins up. And I feel like by February, we're all going to look around and go, wow, I didn't even notice, but the Sixers are second in the East, third in the East. And the East is actually really good at this point. They did lose to a really, really good Detroit Pistons team who, after all those lottery picks, they're finally showing the talent. Obviously, Cleveland is really good, but it's no longer the Milwaukee's and the Bostons. You've just changed a couple teams, but those are the teams that you're going to look at and go, okay, I can't wait for that matchup. And while I say it's no longer the Bostons, Boston is still one of those teams that is veteran-driven, that has been there before and done that. So when you do beat a Boston, it does feel really good. And they're also, I want to point out, winning games where you wouldn't necessarily expect them to win in the past. And an example of that is the first game against Boston, where they're on the road, Joel Embiid's playing horrible, they have to come from behind by 12 points, and they do it. On the road, in the Boston Garden, they come back, they win that game. That is not something you're accustomed to as a Sixers fan. They've done it a few times, coming from behind and winning the games. Now, yeah, they blew a game they should have won in Chicago, and that's going to happen. But again, the way that this Sixers team is winning, it's a lot of fun to watch. You really need to jump on the bandwagon this season because it's going to be fun. Now's the part where I ask you guys to please subscribe to the channel. Subscribe. Subscribing is cool. Everybody's doing it. Peer pressure. Everybody. Your mom's like, you really should subscribe. And you're like, all right, that never happened. Actually, hit thumbs down for that. That was horrible. It was a horrible pitch by me. Trash. I still would beg you to subscribe, though. If you are so inclined, you could hit thumbs up. That's fine. There is a thumbs down button. Smash that. But let me know what you think about the Sixers team. Are you jumping on the bandwagon yet, or are you still waiting to kind of see? As I said, it's not going to get worse when Paul George gets back. It can only improve. Go Sixers.